just setting up the live streaming. So there we go. And in about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes time, everyone will be notified that I am now live streaming. So I will share my slides in a second. But it is only 1 minute past 6. I'm very much on time. So I'll just let a few people arrive if they're going to. I normally say this at the beginning of my classes. I don't know if I need to say it today. It's very hot. So make sure you've got a door open or a window open. If that's appropriate, have some water. And there is no exercise to be had in this presentation. I may move about a bit, but I won't be expecting you to. If you are someone who needs to, if you've got some physio exercises to do, this is probably a good time while you're listening to me rabbit on. So let me get to those slides. So I need to share screen first. Here we go. And, sorry. There we go. Just give me 2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds to settle in. And I will be checking in actually when people are coming into Zoom. So bear with me because I've done this before and not let someone in, which is a bit mean if people have made the effort to come. Let's just stick with the slides. Okay, so here we are on this glorious Thursday evening. Maybe you're outside actually in the garden with a glass of wine or gin and tonic, whatever you like. As I said, there's no exercise involved in this session, so you're all good there. This is just me talking about some of the aging myths that hold us back from taking part in exercise, actually, when something has come along, like ill health of some kind has come along, and we just, these sort of aging myths just kind of tell us that, oh, well, it's just something that happens as we age and it's just something we need to accept. Now, you may be aware there is more and more evidence out there to show that keeping moving as we age is important and pretty vital. But what does that really mean? What does that look like? How does that work? And hopefully in busting some of these myths this evening, I'm going to help you see a way forward. If you want to see a way forward, if you're looking for a way forward. So if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to interrupt me and ask me. If you don't want to come on live in front of people and ask me, I totally get that. And you can just either email me or DM me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Find a way to ask me and I will be more than happy to answer any questions. So this sort of general, this is why I'm coming on to talk about this, because there are people with health conditions, and I see a lot of people with either osteoarthritis or some kind of joint pain. I've seen people pre and post rehab of either knee surgery or hip surgery, and just helping them either before the surgery stay as strong and mobile as they can with the pain that they're living with, but also to help their recovery out of that. And some of the things that sort of like in society that we say that kind of don't help our causes, when we say things like, oh, you know, I'm too old to start, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks, that kind of thing. It sort of, it feeds this kind of negative energy that there isn't anything we can do about it. And I would imagine that there are GPs and physios out there screaming and saying, oh my God, please. It doesn't have to be the case. And it just really doesn't. And I, like I say, that is something that I'm going to talk about this evening, hopefully at greater length, and give you some really good boundaries of what you could do. And I know, like, aging, what is that? What age is that? How do you define it? Excuse me. When does it start? It doesn't matter for this presentation. It really doesn't. It's probably anything over the age of 30, to be fair, and you know, and beyond. So it's sort of, age doesn't need to be the limiting factor. I did have someone in one of the joint pain groups that I run for Nuffield. I don't know how old she was. Her words were, you know, I'm of an age now. She said, so is it really, you know, is all this stuff, because they get taught about exercise and about emotional well-being and the importance of social interaction when you're living with chronic pain. Wide variety, like a holistic approach to support them. It's a good program. And she said, you know, she was basically saying, am I too old? And I smiled at her, and the other ladies in the group were listening in, and I said, well, if you don't mind, what do you want me to say? How do you want me to answer that? And she said, well, I want you to say yes. And so I smiled, and she smiled back at me, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to be able to let you off the hook. To which she and the other ladies laughed and was like, this is all absolutely the right things you should be doing. Exercising, a mixture of cardio exercise and strength exercise and flexibility. Ideally, what it looks like is 3 times a week someone is doing a cardio activity where they raise their heart rate up. Twice a week they're doing some kind of strength training, and then another twice a week they're doing some flexibility work. Well, you could do 1 flexibility and 3 working with weights, depending on what you like. But that's sort of essentially kind of where we need to get to. But anyway, I digress. We're supposed to be talking about the myths, and I feel like there are many. There are probably there's definitely more than these 3 that I've come up with, and a couple that I've nodded to in this introduction. But if you have others and you want to share them with me, remind me of them. I'd love to hear them. But I'm going to go through the 3 main ones that I hear the most often. And this isn't exactly what people say word for word, but this is the essence of what they're saying, that exercise only works if it's intense and probably painful. So that shows up, like, when someone comes to me, especially when we're working with weights and they've never worked with weights before. And when you work with weights, there is this element of effort, rest, which doesn't exist really in cardio training. In cardio training, it's more of a constant slog trying to wear yourself out. Neither is right or wrong. They're just different, and they're aiming for different things. So I'm sort of saying to someone, right, we'll do this set, and we'll make it a superset, and then we'll rest. And some of them are like, right, so, like, what next? Which I understand, but then for them, it just means that they're trying to rush through. They're trying to fit in as much as they can. They're trying to do the best by themselves, which is all really relevant and credible, but it's just too much, because we want to do the best that we can, and there's just this natural assumption that exercise has to be hard for it to be of any benefit, when in reality what I see happen. So when I'm working with a client, I help them manage that. We talk through it. And I say to them, look, see how you are after this first session. Let me know how much aches and pains you get. Likely there might be something, but that's not the be all and end all. We don't need every session to be like that. And that's obviously if I'm working with someone, I get to explain that and have a conversation with them. But if someone's not working with me, and they're just trying to do this on their own, which absolutely loads of us probably are, they sort of go at it in their first session. You might go to your first Zumba class, you might go to the gym and have your program written for you by the PT, and then you take in your card and you're going round. And sometimes there's this kind of mist that comes over us. It's like, right, I need to do this. And actually, there's one client that I'm working with at the moment, and she's like, no, I can push through it. It'll be okay. And it won't, is what I want to say to her. But so I have to gently talk to her about it, because actually it's all very well going at something as hard as you can, but the human body just doesn't respond well to that. It might keep up with you in the moment, but the recovery and the aches and pains that will come potentially off the back of it just, it can be huge. So what happens is people go into this boom and bust situation as well, especially where something like arthritis is concerned, because they do the exercise to the absolute best of their ability. They get aches and pains the next day, feel terrible, avoid doing any sort of movement that could make things worse, avoid it for longer. They might seek a different solution, but then they'll go at that solution really hard and then think, oh, no, that one doesn't work for me because that one's left me in pain too. So then they might avoid it again until they find maybe something else to try, go around the cycle again. And then they may go back to the original thing that they were trying and think, oh, maybe I did it wrong, and have another. And so it winds up, and there may be injuries that get picked up in that cycle as well. But there's definitely a level of frustration and this is hopeless and it's not working that occurs. And it just becomes very unsustainable and just not inviting, not fun, and you don't get to see the improvements and the benefits that everyone bangs on about. Like, you must exercise, it will make you better. But when you're in that cycle of really trying to do your best and then hurting yourself and then trying to do your best again, it's really frustrating place to be. So in dispelling this myth, I really want to say that you don't need to go at something. And I'm going to give you some parameters of what that means. Sorry, I'm just checking on people. So in either during weight training or during cardio training, you want to be working at about 60 to 70% of your maximum output. Now, if you're a sport enthusiast or you have it in your history that you're a sports enthusiast, especially if you're a cyclist or a rower, you might work in watts and power and how much power you're able to generate. You might work in heart rate and how hard are you working. That's one measure. And if for any reason we've become unfit, it can be quite demoralizing to go back and realize we're not as fit as we once were. That's a whole thing in itself. But as a general lay person, most of us don't. We might have a Fitbit, but it's just not necessary. That's another thing about tracking too much data and being too specific. But really, there's a very simple scale called the RPE scale, which stands for the rate of perceived exertion. It's also called the Borg scale, and they use slightly different numbers. But the RPE scale is this scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the hardest you've ever worked, and 1 being, completely relaxed, sat on the sofa. I'm probably at a 3 right now, with nerves. But so you want to probably be working about a 6 or a 7, so that you're, if it's cardio training you're doing, that you're out of breath. You can't hold a full-on conversation, but you can still exchange a few words with the person that you're training with, or imaginary person you're training with if you're training by yourself. So that just gives you a gauge of where you are. And so that 60 to 70%, that can be the intensity. That could also be the amount of time. Like lots of people think that if they're going to the gym, they have to spend an hour there. And when I talk to people, they're like, oh my God, an hour in the gym, it's so boring. What am I supposed to do? Actually, when you've got a plan, that hour can go by very quickly. But also it doesn't need to be an hour. 30 to 40 minutes of regular activity will make a difference to your fitness levels, to your mobility, to your strength levels. And if you do that consistently, and I see this in my own private practice, but the Nuffield Health also see it and measure it in their joint pain program, is that over the course of 3 months, people who have been exercising twice a week, who probably don't have any exercise background, or at least not an exercise background in the last 5 years, will see an improvement in how they move about, in their confidence levels, how they feel, and they generally see an improvement in their pain levels in some way. So being consistent is the most important thing, and being consistent for like 3 months, 6 months, a year, that's when you'll really start to see the gains. And I don't mean to put you off like it's a hard work and struggle all that time. It's not. It's just part of the long game. It's what we're here for. And this is why it doesn't need to be intense all the time, because we just can't keep that up. It's unsustainable. Athletes will tell you that it's unsustainable. They can't do a PB every single training session. It's absolutely not how it works. That's why strength and conditioning training exists. Anyway, get me off on a tangent talking about that. So yes, the point here is regularity, consistency, and commitment to it. And it doesn't need to be as hard as you think it does. Just get into a good routine of doing things that you like. That's also another topic. Pick exercise that you like. As long as you're within those parameters of 150 minutes of elevated heart rate work doing cardio activity, and 2 strength training sessions a week and 1 flexibility session a week. Flexibility looks like a yoga or Pilates class. Strength is working with weights, be that dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, and involves the term progressive overload. Again, that's another topic for another day. And cardio is, you're running, you're cycling, be that indoors, outdoors, swimming, anything that basically gets your heart rate up. So is that enough for myth number 1? Exercise doesn't have to be intense and probably painful. I promise you it can be a little bit of fun. It can be a little bit enjoyable, and it needs to be done consistently. Let me move on. So myth number 2. Sorry, I'm just looking at this, my notes, just to keep me prompted, keep me on good timings. So myth number 2. I just need more motivation to stick with it. Often this might sound like also a word like I just need more willpower. I just need willpower to stick to it. And in reality, we have busy lives. Things come in that knock us off our perch, change our routine. Those changes can last 1 week just because we've got guests visiting us, or they can last 3 months because we may have to look after a sick or elderly relative, or sick or very young grandchild or niece or nephew that we're sort of stepping up to the mark to help, and it throws our normal routines out of the window. And I'm here today, I guess, to reassure you that happens. And I'm going to say it's fine, but what's more important is that you recognize that it's happened, and that you find a way to get back on track without beating yourself up, without running yourself into the ground and telling yourself what an awful person you are because you've missed a session. Because that kind of thing is not going to keep you going either. Excuse me, my voice is suddenly going really croaky. So what do we need instead of more motivation? What we need is to understand what is our intrinsic motivation, what means a lot to us. I guess one of my best examples for this is when I started out being a personal trainer, and I'd meet people on the gym floor and ask them what they were looking for. I'm sure it was 9 times out of 10, people would say, oh, I just want to lose a bit of weight and get toned. Men or women, like that was generally the essence of what they were saying. And I swear to God, I have never gone to a gym or been on a diet with any level of success because I wanted to lose a bit of weight and get toned. Those are that would have been me trying to meet societal pressures or to fit in with a group of friends, or because I just felt like that's what everyone else was doing, therefore I should be doing it. When someone says that to me, I kind of feel like they're saying it because that's what they think a PT wants to hear. That's what they think is the right thing to say, which is fine, but it's not what really moves them into action. So generally, actually, what I then follow it up with is, oh, that's great that you want to do that. Is there a particular reason? Why do you want to do that? How do you see yourself doing that? So I can start to understand more about them, but also they get more in touch with why they're doing it. And, you know, if it's an older person, maybe there's grandchildren in the picture, this might look like me saying to them, also, what would that mean to you if you lost a bit of weight and you're more mobile? And they would say, well, I have the grandkids come round on a Tuesday and a Thursday afternoon, and I just really want to be able to get on the floor and play with them and keep up with what it is that they're doing. Now that's motivation. That's when you're going to stick at something because that really means something to you. And for me, in my experience, when I was younger, like early 20s or younger, I went to Rosemary Conley with my mum, if anyone remembers that, and weighed, took a tape measure to my thighs and weighed myself and everything. And I never stuck to that. I basically it pushed me further away from exercise really than I'd ever been, and pushed me further away from food and eating than I ever had before. And actually, when I started rowing at university, it was a complete surprise, I think, to anyone in my family that I did anything like that. But what I found was the sense of community and the sense of achievement. And I loved the structure. I loved being part of something, and that we were all working hard and mucking in together. And that, to this day, sticks with me. I joined, I had to stop rowing, and then I joined Olympic weightlifting. Same thing. I was just looking for community and to be part of something and to meet new people and to learn a skill. Like, learning something new is brilliant. And I tell you what, learning to throw a 30-kilo bar above your head, that gives you a sense of achievement. So yeah, really the sort of takeaway activity I would say to you, going away from this is, okay, what is it you want? You can journal this. You could have it as a conversation with a friend. If you were journaling, you'd be like, okay, why do I want to exercise? How's exercise going to help me? And you'd write whatever your answer was. You might have one answer, you might have 5, doesn't matter. And then you start to ask yourself, okay, what would it mean to me if I had all of those things? What would life look like? How could things be different? And you start to answer that. And then from those answers, you might get a light bulb moment that goes, oh, it means this to me. Oh, I really want to be able to do that trip to China that me and my husband have always been talking about. That's what it is. Or you might need to keep going, and you'll get this feeling at some point where in your body and in yourself where you'll just go, oh, it's that. That's the reason I want to do it. And it will mean something to you, and you will feel moved. And that will help you be able to be consistent, like I talked about after the first myth, because you'll be reminded, this is why I'm doing it. This is what I get out of it. So I am going to go. I am going to do that thing, whatever it is. Okay. And I'm just aware of time. What did I write on this slide? Motivation comes and goes. It does indeed. What actually keeps people moving is having a reliable, enjoyable way to stay active, one that fits into daily life without feeling like a chore. Absolutely. What was I going to say? Don't set yourself up with, right, I'm going to have a fitness regime and it's going to start on Monday. Don't do that to yourself. If you need to be researching to find a class, find a yoga instructor, find a PT, find a gym, whatever, just start that research and just follow that trail wherever it takes you. And then just start putting things in your diary. And as you say to your friends and family, oh, well, I've got such and such booked in, so I can't meet you then. It will just naturally become part of your week. It doesn't need a big light with flashing lights saying, woohoo, exercise over here. Because, mark my words, you'll put yourself off. Just take the little steps and you'll get there. Okay, I'm getting aware of the time. Apologies if I'm talking too much, and I really hope that you're getting something from this and this is being useful. Again, let me know if there's anything you want to ask or share. So, myth number 3. Yes. So, if I'm not losing weight, I'm not progressing. Or if I'm not lifting heavy enough, that could also be if I'm not running fast enough. Whatever your hobby is, that you're not doing it enough, basically, then I'm not making progress. And this is a part where I want to really acknowledge, for you to be able to acknowledge the journey that you're on. And I was speaking to someone at the weekend, and she was talking about, and this can relate to any exercise or any situation, but this is one that springs to mind very recently. And she was talking about how in 5 years ago or so, she had been running regularly and she'd kept it up for something like, 6 to 10 years. And most weeks she was running at least 5K once, but probably 2 or 3 times. In that time, she was really motivated. She stuck with it, and she was forever chasing this 30-minute 5K mark. In running, there's this thing about being able to run 5K in under 30 minutes, which is fine. It's I want to say it's a bit arbitrary. It's not. It's a bit. It's just sort of a standard that people want to get to because it's a sign that you're a good runner. And she never, in her own words, she never got there. She got close, as probably many people have. She got 33 minutes. Great. But when she talked about it, she'd almost because she didn't get that 30-minute mark, that the whole thing was a failure. And the whole thing didn't work. And I'm not criticizing or judging her because I think lots of us will be like this, where we disregard all of the effort we put in. And it's only on reflection years down the line when we go, oh, do you know what? I really did commit to that for 6 years, and I did show up twice a week, and I did feel good. So what I'm trying to say is we don't need to mark everything as a success or a failure. We can acknowledge the journey. With whatever success we get in whatever local hobby, sport, health gains we're trying to change, no one is going to pay us any more money. I remember a boss saying this to me. He was like, Rachel, rowing's never going to put a roof over your head, right? There's no gold medal at the end of it. Not externally anyway. No one's noticing us. But for us, what we get from it is our own sense of self and knowledge that we're doing a good job. And that is really important because you need to be your own biggest cheerleader and people will come and cheer with you. Absolutely. So acknowledge the journey. Be happy that you are going to the gym twice a week and walking the dog up a hill 4 times a week, whatever it is. Acknowledge that process and praise yourself for it. If it means buying yourself flowers on a weekly basis or giving yourself a massage, booking a massage once every 3 months to say, yay me, then absolutely do it. Because it's at this stage in our lives and with chronic health conditions, anyone who has one knows that really there is no, God, I sound like a real Debbie Downer. There is no win. If you've got osteoarthritis, no one's going to say to you, here, take this pill and your osteoarthritis is gone. That isn't going to happen. You might have knee surgery that has its own complications. That would ultimately get rid of the osteoarthritis, but you know, there's at that particular joint, but there's no real win in that situation. Surgery has its own complications. So really being able to cheerlead yourself, acknowledge the journey along the way, and support yourself, and your family and your friends will support you with you. That's just so important. So I guess, how are we going to make exercise happen? How are we going to bust those 3 myths along the way? So first of all, we're going to know that turning up to the gym, doing 30 minutes of moderate intensity, or going for a walk and go up a hill at a moderate intensity is enough, and it is worth doing, and it's going to make a difference over the long term, and we're going to do it 2 or 3 times a week. Second myth, more motivation. Nope, you don't need any more motivation. You have all the motivation you need. You absolutely do. You're going to just take the little actions. You're just going to put the trainers on. You're going to find the instructor, and you're just going to follow that path and where it leads you. And you're going to just put in your diary each time, oh, this week I've got my exercise class here, and I'm meeting so and so for a walk there. And you're just going to keep that rhythm, because we're not going to worry about motivation. We're going to take action. And then myth number 3, we're not going to try and look for success or failure. We're just going to praise the journey, praise ourselves, and take the actions and do what we need to. And we're not going to compare ourselves to our past selves, to our best friend who's a huge superhuman. We're just going to acknowledge our journey. And the thing here, actually, to really acknowledge your journey is when a friend compliments you and says, oh, well done, you're doing, it's really good that you've gone to that class. Just say, thank you very much. It is, isn't it? Or thank you very much. I am, aren't I? Or thank you very much. I'm really pleased that you've noticed. Accept the compliment. I know it is hard, but accept the compliment. You can do it. Okay. So moving on. The solution to staying strong and mobile and independent, as if I haven't said it enough already. But hopefully you've seen today that there are so many myths about aging and movement that are holding us back, and many just thoughts and feelings that are holding us back. And it might be that you've known, I know for a while, that you want to move more, stay stronger, continue to feel independent throughout the rest of your life. But maybe it's just not quite going your way at the minute, and you keep butting your head against a brick wall. That is exactly why I created Hit and Chat, which is my community and system to help you stay consistent, strong, and mobile in a simple and supportive way. As I've been saying, one of the biggest challenges people face is motivation. It's easy to have the best of intentions, and we've sort of touched on this, but when the moment comes to roll out your mat, to get dressed for the gym, to grab the car keys, it can feel like climbing a mountain, and it's not your fault. Most fitness advice relies too much on willpower and discipline that naturally fade as life gets busy or overwhelming, as we've been describing. Hit and Chat solves this differently. It is a system built around making exercise simple, enjoyable, and achievable. All the above. We make sessions short and manageable. We focus on movements that build real-world strength and confidence, not exhaustion. Sorry, it's a very warm day. We meet live every week as a community, which means that you're never doing it alone. Over time, showing up becomes, dare I say, a highlight of your week, something you look forward to, not something you have to push yourself into doing. These 2 women here, they are not actually in my class. This is just a stock picture. But their smile, their energy, that's that's what's needed when we're exercising, and that's what occurs in Hit and Chat. It's not just another workout. It's a complete support system for feeling stronger, moving better, and living life fully. Because ultimately, that's what we all want. We might not say it exactly in those words, but we just want to be present in our lives and do the activities that we want to do. Imagine this. It's Wednesday evening. This is when the class is. You're at home. You do not have to drive anywhere. You do not have to find a parking space. You probably got your phone in your hand anyway. You're just going to click a button, and there we all are. A small, welcoming group ready to move and support one another. We start with a simple joint-friendly workout. No pressure, no pushing to exhaustion. I mean, the thing that I say in every class is, if you're feeling good today and you want to go for it a bit, do. But if any part of you is tired or feeling off key today, then you may have permission to go through the motions and just be here and have a go, because that's important. In the class, you move your body in ways that feel good, building strength and mobility and confidence with every single movement. Everything is designed to fit around real life, not gym life. And afterwards, at the gym, you just leave. And here, afterwards, you don't just close your laptop and go back to life and sort out the shopping list and cook dinner. We stay together for a few minutes checking in. We share how we're feeling. We celebrate our wins. We keep each other motivated for the week ahead. It's a space where you are seen, supported, and never judged, because you're just in the best company of people who just really get it. Over time, that half-hour workout and 10-minute chat becomes a rhythm you look forward to. It becomes a highlight of your week, your time to reconnect with your body, rebuild your confidence, recharge your energy. It's important that we do that each week. So, this Hit and Chat experience, this is for you if you want to feel stronger and more mobile in everyday life. So that can just be as simple as climbing the stairs without pulling yourself up on the banister. You want to stay independent and active as you age. We've all had an aging relative and thought, oh, I don't want that to happen to me. And I don't mean that with any meanness or insincerity, but it's true. We're all able to see what aging can look like. You want a safe and welcoming space to move without fear, injury, or judgment. And this is it. I absolutely get this feedback from one of the girls in there all the time, how she just likes to be able to show up, do her bit, and not feel like she's being seen by everyone, because it's on screen. So you just are present as much as you like. You want a simple, this is for you if you want a simple, realistic way to stay consistent. I've banged on about it, how important consistency is, and this supports that even when life gets busy. So when you join Hit and Chat, you get a 30-minute live workout every week with the Hit and Chat family, focused on building real strength, balance, and resilience. There are weekly talks, discussions, nothing too heavy, to boost your mindset, strengthen your motivation, and give you practical tools for staying strong, mobile, and active for life. Each session is recorded, and there are other recorded sessions as well, so you can catch up or repeat sessions whenever you need a boost. There are 4 weekly goal setting and intention reviews sessions. They're not arduous, you're not going to get into trouble, but they're there to help you stay focused, track your progress, and keep moving towards better strength, mobility, and independence, which is ultimately what you're looking for. There are progress tracking challenges like our balance challenge, helping you to see and celebrate real improvements that you can feel in everyday life. People really notice this around just being able to move quickly, or get out of the way, or climb stairs with a bit more ease. And then lastly, there is, but not least by any means, there is a close-knit community that lifts you up, celebrates your wins, and keeps you consistent when life gets busy. Hit and Chat is not just another workout. It's a complete system and community built to make consistency simple, achievable, and enjoyable. Oops. You train alongside people just like, sorry, I lost track of where I was. You train alongside people just like you in short, bite-sized sessions that feel real life, that fit real life, not pushing through pain. No forcing yourself to find the motivation, just steady, smart progress with the support of a group that lifts you up. Everything is designed for real life and for real longevity, better movement, a life where you stay active, independent, and confident for longer. So the investment to join Hit and Chat is just £35 a month. For less than the price of a single personal training session, you get a full month of live coaching, community support, accountability, and all the tools that you need to stay active, strong, and independent for life. But the doors are closing. The next Hit and Chat cycle starts this coming Wednesday, and doors are now currently open until Sunday evening. We're closing the enrollment on Sunday evening so that we can make sure that everyone is onboarded and has got what they need and feels prepared, ready for the session on Wednesday evening. There is no time like the present. The sooner you get started, the sooner you will start feeling stronger, more mobile, and more confident in your body. You'll start seeing those changes that you want to make. Next week, we will kick off with a special induction. We'll all be in it together, where you'll meet the other people who are joining. We'll get you set up with some goals. We'll go through what the workout is going to look like and set up camera angles, all that jazz, and get you ready for an incredible 8 weeks together. So here we go. Joining is simple. It's simple for you. Let me, oh God, stop sharing. Please work. Please have worked. There we go. There I am. So in the chat box, which hopefully you are going to be able to find at the bottom of your screen, it's got the word chat. I'm copying and pasting a link in there, and then this should pop up. You can click on that and it will take you straight to the page that's going to allow you to sign up. So click that link and it will take you straight to a sign up page where you can secure your spot in a few minutes. Once you're in, I will send you everything you need for the first session so that you feel ready and in control of what's going to happen. Because I know what it's like when you start a new club. I've done that recently. It's nerve-wracking. Let me just go back to the slides and share. There we go. So yeah, sorry, this slide just reiterates the point. Click the link, sign up, get started. So if that all sounds good, if you are ready to move more, feel stronger, and build a future where you feel confident, active, and independent, Hit and Chat is here for you. Click the link in the chat, and I cannot wait to welcome you in. I know the other work members will be there for you as well and wanting to welcome you in. So if you have any questions, please do ask. Drop me a message. You may ask now. That's absolutely fine. And if you're watching this live on LinkedIn, first of all, thank you for being here. I should have said that at the start. My apologies. Then please I think you can just comment, in LinkedIn, and then I can answer any questions there. And the same if you're watching this live on Facebook. I will be able to go back and check after this if any questions have come up. But I shall leave that there for now. So thank you for listening in. Thank you for coming along. I hope it was in some way useful. You're able to take something away from it. And if you have any questions, please